Here's a lovely simple little egg dish. I'm going to just use a couple of eggs, a little bit of red onion, some peppers, and I'm going to use a little bit of feta cheese just to enrich this dish up. Very, very simple, nice little breakfast idea. But what I'm going to just briefly talk about here is the feta cheese. Now, feta cheese is a very, very old part of Greek culture. It's a delicious cheese. It's primarily made out of sheep and goat cheeses. Well, it's always made out of sheep and goat cheeses. And because of that, it tends to be for a lot of persons a lot easier to digest. It's a great protein source. It's a relatively low fat cheese. And it contains some interesting little nutrients such as CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, for example, which has been shown to be anti-inflammatory. It has trace amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, alpha-linoleic acid, but overall it's a very interesting choice, because an interesting thing with cheese and the Greeks, first of all, the Greek diet, of all the Mediterranean diets, the Greeks actually have one of the lowest incidence rates of arthritis, which is quite interesting. And at the same time, the Greeks have one of the highest consumptions of cheese. But the cheeses that the Greeks tend to be consuming are, again, these cheeses such as feta, which are sheep and goat cheeses. But it kind of shows you that sometimes foods have an undeserved bad reputation. Cheese, if it's the right kind of cheese, consumed the right way, can be a great addition to an anti-inflammatory diet. But again, as with anything, you should work with a good medical professional, a good dietitian, and that's what really helps get the good balance and the good anti-inflammatory trends within your own diet. So anyhow, I'm just going to get on and cook these eggs with feta, peppers and onions. On this dish, add into a nice non-stick pan a little drop of oil, not much. Then add your peppers, which I've sliced, and my red onion. And what I'm going to do is cook those down nice and gently, quite slowly. And also at this point, going to add about a tablespoon of water, just to put a little bit of steam in the pan to help soften them. I'm going to cover them over and let them cook slowly till they're very tender. Cooking down your vegetables, your peppers and your onions, if your pan starts to get a little bit dry, don't add extra oil. Add another tablespoon of water. And then cover it over and allow it to continue cooking. When your veg get lovely and tender, and as you can see, just nicely cooked down, what I'm going to do now is I've opened my 2 eggs and put them in a bowl. It's just much easier to put them into the dish. And what I'm going to do first of all is put a little piece more water in, just to create a little bit of steam. And now I'm just going to make a little kind of a well in the middle and tip my eggs in. Now, my feta, I've just crumbled it up. And what I'm going to do is take my feta and just kind of sprinkle it, for want of a better word, around the dish. And now on a nice low heat, I'm just going to cover that up and let it cook for about another 2 or 3 minutes, just to let the eggs cook through. Having waited about 3.5 minutes actually, my eggs are just nice and lightly cooked, and that is it, done. A lovely little brunch, breakfast, or a light lunchy dish. And then just to finish this dish, I'm not actually going to use salt on this dish, and the reason I haven't used salt is because feta cheese tends to be quite salty in itself. So obviously if you like a little bit of salt yourself, but for me, I don't think the salt is necessary. So there we have it. Our little eggs pepperdale with feta cheese.